The year 1635, Northern Scotland. I'm lost, but I'm not alone. I never have been. And now I'm writing on my story on parchment that I found, because I don't know how long before it finds me. I live with my parents in a village shadowed by a 13th century stronghold. The village is reasonably nice, being for how poor the inhabitants are. There are flooded mud roads between the houses and shops, but surprisingly not much trash lying around. Happy faces are quite easy to find walking about the small shops. The stronghold, on the other hand, is a completely different story. It's not your stereotypical castle with a king and knights in shining armor. In fact, it's the furthest thing from it. It was a prison, where neighboring villages sent their worst prisoners. Once you entered, you never left, and I mean never. Not in one piece, that is. They experimented on the prisoners to see how the human body would react to certain drugs, or how much pain someone could endure before death. One of the rooms, they kept the prisoners awake without sleep, or anyone to talk to for 15 days. On day 16, the scientists entered and found that they had ripped off their own flesh. In the other room, they made them stand in water with the flesh-eating bacteria. And there was so much more. One day, the scientists created a new virus. They injected 5 subjects. 3 days after this, the stronghold burnt to the ground, killing everyone inside. July 2nd, 1550, became known as the Day of Fire. Years after the fire, stories arose about how people went up to look at the castle and never returned. Most of these stories were told to scare the children to stay away from the castle for safety reasons. This one time, in the 1600s, there was a report of a young child entering the stronghold and never returning. The family was distressed, and with this they started a search. They never made it past the front entrance, for the arch collapsed and fell on the family, killing them all. After that, a barricade was set up to prevent any further investigation of the building. It was a dreary afternoon, and I was tired of working around the house, so I decided to go exploring. Soon enough, I found myself at the entrance of the dark castle. I was told to stay as far away from that wretched building as possible. Every bone in my body screamed for me to stay away, but I felt like something was watching me from one of the black pits in the wall. The building had high-pointed windows and jagged stone walls. It was built off a cliff overlooking a large lake that was always covered in fog. Fishermen could not stray too far from the shore in fear of losing their bearings and getting lost. Dead ivy clung to the walls, and the grass along the edge of the building was dried and brown. Luckily, I had brought my lantern, as I was always accustomed to do on darker days, and I entered through a small hole in the barricade and over the fallen stones from the archway. The main hall looked as I expected. It was full of burnt furniture, rugs, and ashes everywhere. My lantern only allowed me to see a short distance on all the sides. I continued forward with darkness closing in on all sides now. Down, down, down. Something kept drawing me down. Sure enough, I came across stairs leading down, so down I went into the heart of the destroyed castle. I heard footsteps behind me, and I turned around quickly to find nothing but a wall where the stairs I had just came down used to be. I didn't know what to do. Terrified at this point, I told myself, there has to be more than one exit, right? I sat on the stairs for a moment and pondered on what to do. Suddenly, I heard what appeared to be scratching against the wall that now blocked my exit. Hurriedly, I took off down the stairs, trying to escape whatever was making that horrid sound. Scratch, scratch. I reached the end of the cold stone stairs and found myself in a hallway. It was narrow and lined with doors on both sides. It was getting harder to breathe now with the musty air, and I realized something was seriously wrong, like even more wrong than the wall blocking my stairs. This hallway didn't appear to have been affected by the fire. The wood doors had no sign of being affected by the fire, and there was a blackish-red woven carpet on the ground. Something felt off about this carpet, so I knelt down to touch it. Hair. It was made out of hair. I pulled my hand back quickly. It couldn't be. No. It must have been. The hair was human, wove and dyed into a rug. Shivering, I stood up and started to examine the doors closest to me. Thick wood doors with large, heavy metal latches. Iron plates reinforced the door, held in with large metal bolts. I decided to try to open the door to my left. The latch would not budge. Getting frustrated, I tried the door on my right. This door opened with ease. I pushed forward and was met with a smell that was so horrid. I threw up on the spot and slammed the door closed. I sat against the wall and tried to calm myself when I heard it again. Scratch, scratch. This time it was getting closer. It was coming from the direction I came. My heart pounded in my chest. I stood up and ran down the hallway. I had to get out of here. I came to the door at the end, and I entered and closed it quickly behind me. I turned around, and to my surprise I found I was in a study, and there was a fireplace ablaze. I found the door lock and fastened it tight. I stood, listening for the horrid sound, and was greeted with only silence. There appeared to be nobody in the study with me, so I ventured to the center of the room, where a large desk was sitting, facing what appeared to be a large window in the stone wall. On the other side was a dark abyss. The fire gave good light, and I peered at the books scattered across the dark desk. They looked like notes from experiments that were tried in this hellish place. On the front of each book was the name of the experiment. I read some of them. I never should have done that. The names were gruesome. Insides on the out. Life without bones. How many cuts? Sleep is for the dead. These were just a few of the horrible labs conducted. I heard a bang on the door I had just entered a few moments ago. Jumping, I knocked some books on the floor. Then the scratching came. Scratch, scratch. Panicking, I picked up the largest book and ran to the corner of the room, where I would be hidden in the shadows. I was foolish for thinking I could defend myself with a book. The scratching continued for at least 10 minutes. I decided I was safe from the scratching, and taking a deep breath, I looked at the book I had picked up. Judgment is Now. The title gave me the creeps, but I noticed the date was 3 days before the fire burnt the place to the ground. Curiosity got the best of me, and I opened the cover. The writing was sloppy and in note form, and it read as follows. Day 1. First 5 injected. Rapid attitude change. Extreme strength. Skin turned yellow. Fingernails are growing at extreme rate. Day 2. Infected released into the rest of the population. Dead. They're all dead. Only the 5 remain. Blood everywhere. Too many bodies. Eating the dead. Scratching. Day 3. The scratching. Make it stop. Make it stop. Black, soulless eyes. They'll escape soon. The scratching. Only option remains. All must die. No one can escape. Burn. Time to burn. No one is safe. No one can see what has happened here. The scratching. I flipped a page to see what happened next, but to my surprise, the pages only contained scribbles and tally marks. For at least 100 or so pages. Then I saw the last entry. This writing was different from the earlier entries. In crude, smudged block lettering, it read, All dead. Only 6 remain. The 5 infected and you. On that note, I dropped the book and ran around the room trying to find another exit. I noticed the scratching had stopped, and this made me more frantic. On the wall, next to the large window, was a shiny bronze lever. Feeling I had nothing to lose, I pulled it down. What happens next chills me to write, but I must tell the next unfortunate soul to read this. The room on the other side of the window suddenly exploded in light from hundreds of lanterns hung on the ceiling. It was a large room with a stone floor and stone walls. The floor of the room was about 10 feet down, giving me the perfect view of the massacre below. There was body parts strewn all across the floor. Blood caked the walls and floor. There was bloody handprints along the wall where the victims tried to escape their death. Then I saw it, standing in the middle of the room, looking right at me. Its black, hollow eyes. Blood-covered body. The mouth had been ripped on the sides to reveal yellow and bloody teeth. Purple veins were visible on its bare body. Then the scratching started back, this time faster, more persistent. I pulled some unused pages out of the lab books and started writing with the quill I'd found in the cabinet. Now I am here, and with every scratch, I near closer to death. The fireplace is going dim, and it will soon be out. They have not stopped scratching. Oh, the scratching! They will come when the light is gone, for none can leave this place in one piece. All must die. No one can escape them. Pray to your God that you are judged quickly. Scratch, 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 scratch. All dead. Only 5 remain.